kulabo mhlawumbe labanye labakhubatekile. Emangweni kunemisumbe kunabo labo nje tibonza temango. Ngibo lekufanele ukuthi phecelezi ba-identify bantu benzawo ngoba umuntu nje lofika kwencewe yadengcela ngiyabekisa uteleti injongo takhe. Lapha kubetelwa bekunene kutoholwa. Kutelwe kutodevelopa ummango. Ngicabanga ukuthi lokho abakwekhute labafanele ikakhulu lababuka imimango naleyo misumbe konke nje netimfundo.
Siyabonga mkhulu.
Siyabonga kakhulu.
Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the News Bulletin at 8, brought to you by number one news provider, Eswatini TV. I am Nondumiso Vilagati, alongside Namakabiso Nkambule. Let's take a look at our news-making headlines. The Minister of Education says the country has a challenge of skills mismatch, which hinders economic development. Eswatini Parliament started a clean-up campaign aimed at keeping Lobamba and surroundings hygienic in preparation for the 55 years double celebration. There are estimated to be 80 farmers doing conservation agriculture in Eswatini. The news. The Minister of Education, Lady Howard, says the country has a challenge of skills mismatch, which hinders economic development. The minister was speaking during the launch of Ishak's strategic plan, where she was represented by the acting principal secretary, Naniki Mnisi.
In the last financial year, Ishak started to develop its strategic plan for 2023 to 2026 with the broad intention of quality of higher education in the country, which was also a rebranding event for Ishak. The Minister of Education, Lady Howard, represented by the acting PS Naniki Mnisi, says Eswatini needs to ensure graduate mobility through a globally comparative higher education.
Our higher education system must keep pace with the changes happening globally. Therefore, we must prepare our graduates for today's jobs and the jobs yet to be created. Our country faces the challenge of skills mismatch. It is sad to see talented individuals struggling to find suitable employment due to a misalignment between their acquired skills and industry requirements. This mismatch hinders individual progress and our nation's economy and growth potential.
Ishak CEO Loretta Mkonda highlighted the importance of this project to the council.
It's also to ensure that we contribute directly, to the skills development in the country, to the economic growth of the country in terms of the human capital development, and also to ensure the graduate mobility.
The strategic plan also says in 3 years, Ishak will increase accredited programs that address scarce skills in the country by 10%. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Suekoza with Zikumbuzo Dlamini, Ezulwini.
There are estimated to be 80 farmers doing conservation agriculture, while Eswatini has spent 1.6 million emalangeni on 1,200 households that benefited in form of startup packages. The Ministry of Agriculture Principal Secretary Sidney Smelane says conservation agriculture can assist the country in achieving stable food security and preserving the soil.
The Minister of Agriculture Principal Secretary Sidney Smelane says conservation agriculture was introduced 20 years ago in the country. Smelane is represented by Malkens Research Center Director Tembinkosi Gumetse. Gumetse elaborates on the importance of conservation agriculture.
Active response, including improved yields and restoration of degraded lands. The project was then upscaled to the rest of the country through collaboration and support of development partners, especially the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. Conservation agriculture allows for the gradual increase in yields and also enable the preservation of ecosystems, especially soil, so that even future generations can benefit.
Eswatini Water and Agricultural Development Enterprise Eswat Chief Executive Officer Samson Sitole says there is an increase in the number of farmers doing conservation agriculture in the country.
Today's workshop is looking at how can we scale it up now to mechanized agriculture, because with hands you can only do a very small area. And we already have equipments, tractor drone equipments that can do a large area at a very low cost, as there is very few passes of the tractor in the field under this method of production.
The stakeholders that were part of the workshop were also shown conservation agriculture farming implements like seeders and plows, among others. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with small version Zulwini.
Eswatini Parliament has started a cleanup campaign aimed at keeping Lobamba and surroundings hygienic in preparation for the 55 years double celebration. Collector Parliament Benedict Xaba has urged Eswatini to ensure that their residential places are litter-free. Xaba said this on Wednesday during the cleanup campaign in Lobamba.
Eswatini is anticipated to rejoice the 55 double celebration next month. On this special day, the country will be celebrating His Majesty's 55th birthday and 55th Independence Day. As a result, Eswatini Parliament staff started a clean-up campaign to ensure tidiness in Lobamba and surroundings in preparation for the Red Litter Day. Clerk to Parliament Benedict Xaba says litter is a national issue, hence he encouraged all Emaswati to participate in keeping the country tidy.
We want to challenge every organization, every company to join us as Parliament to keep our country very clean. So, for example, I'm challenging Eswatini Water Services next to me, the station commander of Lobamba, fire emergency, that they must also sacrifice and take 5 minutes and clean the areas around them. Not only them, the whole country, every family, every father of the family, you are a mother of the family, lead the family and take any plastic bag or any paper around the home. Then we are going to keep this country safe.
In the recent years, Eswatini declared every last Saturday of a month as a National Cleanup Campaign Day. For Eswatini TV, I'm Pendulo Kumbi with Fortunate Dlangamandla and Smuva Shongwe at Lobamba.
The Eswatini Kumbi and Buses Allied Workers Union ECABAU says they are ready to take Emaswati to the different voting stations around the country for the primary elections this coming Saturday. The Communications Officer William Fagudze says they will prioritize safety for their passengers.
The Communications Officer of the Eswatini Kumbi and Buses Allied Workers Union urges public transport drivers to ensure that everyone arrives safely at all the voting destinations by following all road signs and protocols. He strongly discourages overloading, stating that this is part of the reasons that cause the rise in road accidents.
Inhlangano ye-ECABAU thina lesikhutsatako sikhatsata ukuthi bantu baphephe, because kuphepha kwebantu kusho ukuthi uphila kwaleli live lethu, because ubhlungu, because at the same time uthi mawushayela ushayela ishe abantu, but la ikhathi kunalo wakho umphefumulo. So siyayeke sithi asiphepheni sonke, siyaye sikushumayele lokho emalungeni ethu. Ngemgcibelo nasiya elikhethweni sibhekeke ukuthi tonke tinqola tilayishe abantu, sibhekeke ukuthi futhi tonke tinqola tikhone kulayisha abantu babe bafike baphephile, no overloads. The
Mbabane bus rank manager Themba Dlamini says they have already engaged their drivers on ensuring safety during the elections. Drivers who will be on the ground on the day also shared that they are ready to take Emaswati to the different voting stations.
Amakanjani ngekubambisa live vele ukuthi dosakha kwethu bonke amaswati la elikhethweni siyawalayisha
vele nje kulayisha abantu ayivami misele futhi nalo kulayisha abantu alokugcibela
nathi nje kwamanje silinze bona lokho sibalayishe ngalomgcibelo
imoto tikhona letikhethiwe vele tabe sisebenza dona lo laleli khetho. The primary elections will be held this coming Saturday. According to the Transport Association, there are over 6,000 public transport vehicles in the country with about 15,000 workers. In total, over 583,000 people have registered for these coming elections. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
The Kingdom of Eswatini will be part of Phase 2 of the World Bank's Business Ready program. The director of the Eswatini Investor Roadmap Unit, Albert Chibi, says the program has 10 indicators, including the use of technology in business.
Following the discontinuation of the Ease of Doing Business project in September 2021, due to various reasons, the World Bank has introduced a new benchmark program, Business Ready, which seeks to improve data integrity. Phase 1 of the program is being rolled out in 60 countries. The Kingdom of Eswatini Investor Roadmap Unit Director Albert Chibi says the program will be implemented in the Kingdom on the second phase.
Topics will include taxation. They will also look at international trade, market services, and insolvency. Insolvency, you remember, was also part of Ease of Doing Business, where we look at how easy, whenever you fail as a business person, it must be easy for you to close down or even get another opportunity to rethink maybe the structure of the business. Currently, we are in consultations with the World Bank. We have already been to the local office, and we are due to meet virtually experts from Washington, where later on we will then announce workshops that should assist all service providers in terms of getting them to be ready for the rollout of the program in January 2024.
The World Bank will be publishing the first report of the Business Ready program in April 2024. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Siwekoza with Sikumbuzo Dlamini, Babane.
The Eswatini Tourism Authority says the city-to-city tour strategy, which is aimed at promoting urban tourist attraction centers during school trips, has boosted domestic tourism. This has been said by the marketing officer when giving details about the strategy, stating that it also provides an opportunity for learners to realize that there are entrepreneurship opportunities in this sector.
The Eswatini Tourism Authority partnered with municipalities. We signed MOUs with Ezolweni Municipality, Manzini Municipality, and Babane Municipality. The main objective is to promote city tourism in the cities. So we have seen so many schools traveling in big buses, but we have seen an upsurge of the schools visiting tourism attraction places such as Sibebe Resort, the museum, the King Sopoza Park, and also Mlilwane Wildlife Sanctuary, and also an extension of the airport, because the students want to learn more about our airport and also visiting nature reserves and game reserves. So we are so excited about this partnership because the city-to-city domestic tourism city strategy stipulates that we are encouraging Maswati from as young as early from primary school to learn about tourism because it's part of the curriculum. And then also, if they're interested, they can also be tour guides in the future or tour operators, which in turn we're saying, don't wait to be hired by somebody. You can start your business in the Eswatini tourism sector. We're also excited to see schools. We just want to say thank you to the Principals Association of Eswatini for allowing the students to visit Eswatini, because we are discouraging schools to go outside the country because there is more to see inside the country. And also visiting and knowing the history of the cities. Babane has a vast history and museum. Also, the city-to-city in Manzini has also a lot of history. Also, all the cities in Eswatini, they have a history. So I'm saying to the schools, they must come and visit such places.
The Elections and Boundaries Commission has stated that they are looking for more ways to make special voting more accommodative to those sectors who are still unable to vote despite this opportunity. The Communications Officer, Mbonisi Bembe, said this when giving an update of how special voting held on Tuesday went.
The special voting sites in the Manzini region were at Divine Healing Ministries, St. Michael's High School, and Manzini Central High School. The Elections and Boundaries Commission says It is compiling a report and statistical data on the elections, which will be shared with the public once completed.
Siyabuka lokuthi ungabe ngitiphi indlela lesingenda ngato ukuthi lokuvota lokukhethekile kungabi indzawo yinye kepha kube ngetifundza emalayini lamakhulu ekseni bekendiwe ngilokuthi emaswati ungathi afike kanye kwase siyabambisana ngekuconza lokuthi kufanele sinikane lamathuba ekuvota njengaloku onke lamaswati bekanalo lilungelo lokuthi ayovota ematilongweni nakhona lapho kugcinwe khona abanaketfu nabatsatse wethu umsebenzi uhambe kahle siyeva nasemaveni ukuthi lo msebenzi wekuvota nawo uhambe kahle njengaloku sinabo siba likhulu ngemave lana nawo bekasebenza wona umsebenzi we-special voting.
The communications officer further said they are hoping for smooth elections this coming Saturday as there are over 700 polling stations.
Siyethembisa ukuthi ngaleli langa lamhla ka-26 emalayini ngeke abe makhulu njengaloku besiwabona akhona khona lela besivotela khona ikakhulu ngoba libandla lente lokungenani titeshi kuthi tibe ngetulu kwa-700 kwendela ukuthi nembala tawuheleza emalayini.
The Elections and Boundaries Commission says the number of people who voted and overall results will be shared soon. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla, Smuva Shongwe, Nkanini.
Ex-Senator Mkhululi Dlamini says the Supreme Court lacks jurisdiction to preside over the application brought before it by the Elections and Boundaries Commission that seek to set aside High Court ruling that the Supreme set aside a judgment issued by the High Court where, among other things, the court ruled that ex-Senator Mkhululi Dlamini's name should be among those nominated for Member of Parliament under Mapilingo Chiefdom.
When the trial continues in court, Mzwandile Dlamini, the lawyer representing ex-Senator Mkhululi Dlamini, informed the Supreme Court that it has no jurisdiction over the matter. The High Court issued a ruling that the Elections and Boundaries Commission should hold a special nomination process at Mapilingo Umphakathi to determine the nomination of outgoing Senator Mkhululi Dlamini or include his name in the list of nominees for Member of Parliament for the same Umphakathi. EPC had gone to court to seek an order that this ruling should be set aside. This was after EPC removed Mkhululi's name on the voters' roll under Mapilingo Chiefdom. Lawyer Mzwandile informed the full bench of the Supreme Court that when the matter was heard by the High Court, there was no miscarriage of justice. He says it is for that reason that there is no need for the Supreme Court to exercise its supervisory powers over the matter. The lawyer continued to state that the application by EPC that is before the court seeks to review the ruling of the High Court. On the other hand, EPC representative Mbuso Dlamini informed the bench that when the matter was heard by the High Court, there was miscarriage of justice. He says this is because the High Court granted an order that was not prayed for, and this is not permitted. He further added that the High Court decided on the matter without proper evidence. He adds that the High Court was supposed to allow filing of affidavits. At the time of compiling this report, the court was still in session. The bench is led by Supreme Court Judge Machahenga Dlamini. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, High Court.
The Elections and Boundaries Commission encourages the Federation Organization of the Disabled People in Eswatini to communicate with them on the employment of people living with disabilities to work in the elections on Saturday. This was said by the EPC's Communications Officer Mbonisi Pembe when explaining the employment of people living with disabilities during the elections.
Elections and Boundaries Commission has previously said 80 people living with disabilities will get job opportunities in these upcoming elections. The Communications Officer Mbonisi Pembe says they have kept this promise. He, however, says the organizations of people living with disabilities should contact them if they need clarity on this matter.
Siyacela ukuthi kulabo kulenhlangano yabantu labakhubatekile basibambise ukuthi batsinzane nale malunga abo labe bawabhalisile ukuthi batawuba ingcenye yalo lokhetho ngekusebenza beve ukuthi ngikuphi lapha bangene khona mangabe kuvakala ukuthi kukhona lapho singakakhona ukubathatha khona abahlangane nalo libandla ngoba sifise ukuthi kushaya lesihlanu sibe sati lo ukuthi ema-obligations nobe timvo besivumelene ngato tibe tihamba kahle. Sitawubanjiswa ngiboko ukuthi sibe neliciniso ukuthi 100% nobe bonke laba bavetile sesikhonile kubathatha.
The Deputy Prime Minister's office says over 150,000 people in the country are living with disabilities. Eswatini TV News, Isebenele Mthethwa and Smuvashongwe, Lobamba.
Dear viewers, now take a look at our financial updates.
Standard Bank. It can be.
This sports update is proudly brought to you by eBet. Join our family of winners by visiting us today at ebet.co.sz. eBet, born to win.
Welcome back. You're still watching Eswatini TV. In our sports roundup, we begin with FIFA Technical Director, Officer Serama Letsoga, who has hailed the Kingdom of Eswatini for a job well done so far in providing programs that give special attention to juniors, especially under 15. Letsoga says neighboring countries within the region can learn a lot from the Kingdom of Eswatini.
In our sports roundup, we begin with FIFA Technical Director Officer Letsoga Serame, who has applauded the Kingdom of Eswatini for working tirelessly in trying to show improvement in the development of football, especially for players under the age of 15. The former Bloemfontein Celtic coach believes some of the neighboring countries in the SADC region can learn a lot from Eswatini.
If these players today are under 15, in the next 2 years they will be under 17. I think we are going to see a change when they play in the COSAFA tournament in order to qualify for African Youth Champion and eventually for the World Cup. And this is what we have always been trying to preach, to say, you don't just need 2 or 3 camps for the players in the national team. You need them to be having this type of games that we are having today in Mozambique, being hosted here, and we want them again to go somewhere and again to go to another country.
And moving on to our latest Momo votes updates that have now hit over 60 million from the 28 teams of the Premier League and National First Division, with 3 weeks to go before the deadline. The big 3 teams being Babane Swallows, Manzini Wanderers and Babane Highlanders are still yet to register 10 million votes each, with log leaders Zingzin Hospers, who happens to be the tournament's defending champions, are now over 12 million votes, followed by Moroni Pirates in second, then Pixpic Black Swallows in third. And in our international news, Kenyan long-distance athlete Faith Kipchoge has pulled a record of clinching her 3rd gold medal of the World Athletics Championship after finishing first in 1,500 meters when using only 3 minutes and 54 seconds. Deribi Walchechi from Ethiopia was second, while Sifania Hassan from Netherlands was third. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Mbabane.
The Sports was proudly brought to you by eBet. Don't hesitate. Visit us today at ebet.co.sz. eBet, born to win.
That is all we had for tonight, but before we wrap up, we'll take a quick recap of today's headlines. The Minister of Education says the country has a challenge of skills mismatch, which hinders economic development. Eswatini Parliament started a cleanup campaign aimed at keeping Lobamba and surroundings hygienic in preparation for the 55 years double celebration. There are estimated to be 80 farmers doing conservation agriculture in Eswatini. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather forecast for selected towns. Good night, Eswatini.
Hello and welcome to Eswatini TV and to a brand new talk show called A Cuppa with Nomgebo. And I do what I have to do because I know where I'm going.